Hello, and welcome to Cal Poly's 8th annual Evening of Green and Gold. I'm Jeff Armstrong, president of Cal Poly. My wife Sharon and I are thrilled you could join us as we recognize the university's generous supporters and innovative students, faculty, and alumni who are solving the problems of today and making an impact on the future. Before we look toward our future, it is important that we honor the people who are the original stewards of the land that we at Cal Poly live, learn, and work on. Cal Poly carries the heritage and culture of the indigenous people of San Luis Obispo County, the Yaktichu Tichu Yaktelhini Northern Chumash tribe. We honor the indigenous people's connection to these territories and respect this land. As we reflect on the past year, our hearts are heavy as we think about the losses that many have endured, from loved ones taken too soon by COVID-19, to the economic and emotional toll the pandemic has had on families and businesses, to the acts of violence and unjust treatment that have impacted Black, Asian, and other minority communities for far too long. While we've not solved these pervasive issues, we are more committed than ever to making lasting change that will enable us to grow and evolve as a society. The past year has been challenging, but there have also been moments of celebration within the Cal Poly community. Nearly 6,000 Mustangs graduated in 2020, and 2021 graduates will walk across the stage in Spanos Stadium this June. We experienced record enrollment last fall and once again saw a record-breaking number of applicants for the coming fall. Alumni jumped in to help their communities any way they could amidst a global pandemic. Our students and faculty adjusted to virtual learning and continued to collaborate, connect, and create. We've made strides toward increasing student diversity and creating an inclusive and culturally rich environment on campus through the introduction or expansion of programs and scholarships, including Cal Poly Scholars. Because of you, we closed the most successful fundraising campaign in California State University history, raising more than $832 million to empower students, empower innovation, and empower excellence. And the Cal Poly community came together virtually to cheer on alumnus and NASA astronaut, Commander Victor J. Glover, as he made history by piloting the SpaceX Crew One Dragon spacecraft, aptly called Resilience, and living aboard the International Space Station for 6 months. The Cal Poly community doesn't shy away from a challenge. We dare to explore innovative approaches to some of the world's most significant problems. Soon you'll hear 3 stories that exemplify what Cal Poly and our Learn by Doing philosophy are all about. We may stumble, we may even fail at times, but we are relentless in our search for refining processes, solving problems, and improving the lives of others. Our featured subjects tackle big issues that affect the global community, from COVID-19 testing to the intersection of wildfires and urban landscapes, to limited mobility caused by Parkinson's disease. Many of us know someone who has felt the impact of one or more of these topics. So while they can be incredibly personal problems, the solutions will be universal and felt well beyond our campus community for years to come. It's this sort of commitment to something greater that is a driving force for many seeking to solve big problems. It isn't fame or fortune that pushes them forward, but a resolve to do whatever is possible to make a difference in the lives of others. And when you couple that passionate sense of personal responsibility with the encouragement of those who believe in you and the greatness you can achieve, that's a combination that produces life-altering results. Every day, Cal Poly students, working with our amazing faculty, are addressing issues that are not only important to them, but have the potential to make a positive impact on campus and beyond. Biomedical engineering graduate student Alexander Silva did just that when they developed a pilot program with faculty to open up dialogue with students about racial inequities and social injustice in an engineering-specific setting. With an IDEAS grant funded by the College of Engineering, Alexander has been able to do in-depth research on how and when to bring these discussions into classes and provide guidelines for professors to facilitate meaningful conversations with students as it relates to their class topics. We are grateful for Alexander's vision and the support they receive from Dr. Lily Leho, Dr. Trevor Cardinal, and Dr. James Eason. For more information about Alexander's project, as well as the solution-oriented programs students and faculty highlighted by each college, please go to giving.calpoly.edu/events and view the Student Showcase. At Cal Poly, we work hard to create an environment that fuels collaboration, innovation, and research. A place where possibilities are boundless and there is room to learn, grow, and improve. And a place where all students feel welcome to be their unique selves, celebrate their diverse backgrounds and perspectives, and be part of an ever-growing community committed to uplifting one another. We couldn't do that without you, our supporters and friends. Your dedication has been inspiring and transformative. We are grateful to everyone who has contributed to the programs and projects that enable and enhance Learn by Doing. One amazing example is the development of our own saliva-based PCR COVID test. When faced with the need to frequently test thousands of students and get our results fast enough to ensure our campus safety, Cal Poly professors Drs. Nathaniel Martinez, Aiden Nazmi, and team sprung into action. Working together and with input with other universities and local healthcare experts, they developed a test that increased the university's testing capacity and reduced wait times for results to under 24 hours. And in true Learn by Doing fashion, students have been an integral part of the process. From collecting saliva samples to running tests in the lab to installing wastewater testing units on campus. They are learning alongside faculty and staff while gaining experience that will enable them to enter the workforce ready to make a difference day one. We are also grateful for the generosity of our community and supportive programs like Cal Poly Scholars, which has seen phenomenal growth and success since its inception. Cal Poly Scholars supports and retains high-achieving students from California schools who come from low-income backgrounds by providing financial and academic resources and creating an empowering community where students can thrive amongst their peers and dedicated staff. At this time, more than 1,000 students are affiliated with the Cal Poly Scholars Program, and we project each year will become a larger and more diverse cohort of first-time freshmen and transfer students than the last. The program seeks to provide opportunities for scholars to engage with fellow students whose identities, values, and lived experiences align with their own. And the success of this program shows not only through the persistence rate for freshmen, sophomore, and junior scholars, which are equivalent to the university rates, but through the sense of belonging that is created between scholars, fellow students in mentor roles, and the program staff. The impact is felt throughout Cal Poly and continues to grow thanks to many private and corporate donors who have contributed toward the program, which is also funded by the Cal Poly Opportunity Fee. The Northrop Grumman Foundation has directly supported a large number of scholars in the College of Engineering, and we are grateful for their continued partnership. And private donors like Rick and Jill Stolmeyer, Ken and Jean Stone, and many others are making a major impact on the lives of scholars in each of the 6 colleges. Together with countless other alumni, parents, friends, faculty, and staff, they are helping to address one of the most persistent issues at Cal Poly: a lack of diversity on campus, and culturally inclusive experiences for current and prospective students. We are also looking forward to celebrating the completion of several major projects that will provide exemplary learning environments for our deserving students. Scheduled for completion this fall, the William and Linda Frost Center for Research and Innovation, which also features the Boswell Agricultural Technology Center and the Jack and Felicia Cashin Expressive Technology Studio, will provide undergraduate and master's research opportunities while enhancing the colleges of agriculture, liberal arts, and science and mathematics. Because of this innovative space, Cal Poly will be poised to attract students from California and across the country, offering opportunities to research alongside engaged faculty, use cutting-edge technology to advance their work, and solve problems big and small by collaborating with equally driven and passionate minds. To Bill and Linda Frost, Jim, Suzanne, Cameron, and Dan Boswell, Jack and Felicia Cashin, and many other donors, I extend our gratitude on behalf of our students for making this center a reality. We are also excited for the next big thing in the College of Agriculture, Food, and Environmental Sciences, the Justin and J. Lohr Center for Wine and Viticulture. Cal Poly's Wine and Viticulture Department is best in class, and it's one of the largest programs in the country. Because of our world-class faculty and dedicated donors, this program continues to produce California's top winemakers and wine industry professionals. As a completely donor-funded project, this center reflects the commitment and camaraderie of Justin Vineyards and Winery, Jerry Lohr, the Gallo family, Bill and Cheryl Swanson and their Center of Effort Winery, the Wagner Foundation, the Regia Family Foundation, and many others. We're also thankful for the funding that enhances our Cal Poly athletics programs, from beach volleyball to baseball and golf. Because of a cadre of dedicated supporters and some of our biggest fans, our student athletes and coaches have the resources they need to unite as teams and develop as leaders. With student athletes from all 6 colleges, investment in these programs has developed and helped transform our campus and set our students up for success as scholars, teammates, and young professionals. The Swanson Beach Volleyball Complex opened in record time and was the result of key partnerships between the university and donors. Bill Swanson, who was the driving force for this project, pushed us to take an innovative hybrid approach to project management and truly brought this championship-level facility to fruition in record time. We are thankful for the generosity of Bill and Cheryl Swanson, George and Renata Lee, Basha and Troy Gillespie, the Copeland family, Jim and Sandy, Tom and Pam, and each of you who supported this complex. Last spring, we finished the Dignity Health Baseball Clubhouse at Baggett Stadium. It's a remarkable facility for fans and players alike, made possible through our partnership with Alan Iftinik, Dignity Health, and the commitment of Robin and Michelle Baggett, Jim and Martha Newkirk, Bill Hoffman, and many of our ardent supporters. And the Mustang Golf Academy will make an impact now and well into the future. The clubhouse and training area provides ample opportunities for our student athletes to work on their game and come together as a team. We are thankful for the lead support from Bill and Cheryl Swanson and Michael and Sammy Pino, and for all those whose faith in this team and program will be felt for years to come. We look forward to cheering our Mustangs alongside our alumni, families, and fans at these top-notch facilities in the future. And we'll continue to implement forward-thinking strategic research initiatives that support the work of our faculty and students and are strengthened by our corporate and community partnerships. Thank you to those who've continued to care for our community, our foundation, corporation, and alumni association boards, Dean's Advisory Councils, and countless department advisory bodies. Our staff who have remained committed to serving our students and one another, our students, faculty, and alumni who are solving the problems of today and impacting the future. And to our stalwart supporters, thank you for all you do to ensure our Learn by Doing legacy continues to thrive. You have been especially important during this difficult year as we saw our state budget allocation reduced and students go largely virtual. Although we are grateful that many of the cuts appear to have been one-time only, we are mindful of the importance of securing Cal Poly's financial future to ensure that we will continue to excel for many years to come. We look forward to strengthening relationships with our partners and securing greater financial stability, and will identify other resources over the coming months and years as well. Now, I have the pleasure to present the stories and solutions that are shaping the future of Cal Poly and beyond. Please enjoy.
It all started with Jack. Jack's actually a local veteran who lived here in San Luis Obispo. He lived with Parkinson's disease, and the worst symptom that he experienced was freezing of gait.
Freezing of gait is defined as the sudden onset of immobility. Someone can be walking around their house, in a restaurant, outdoors, and all of a sudden their feet refuse to step forward.
Jack would describe it as feeling like his feet are glued to the floor, stuck in a box of cement. You can imagine how incredibly frustrating that is. It's also a leading cause of falls for people with Parkinson's, so it can be quite dangerous. He didn't have any real solution for freezing of gait that worked well for him, but he knew these visual and auditory cues, these tools that he was using in his physical therapy office worked really well for him, and he wanted a way to be able to bring those tools to use at home. So he came to Cal Poly with this idea, asking for help. Me and a master's student at the time just started working on this as a project for Jack.
Sydney is one of those students at Cal Poly that we absolutely love to meet and get to know and hopefully engage in some of our entrepreneurial programming. They have the smarts and the intelligence to get into a Cal Poly, get through the coursework, but then sometimes they get inspired by a problem and they discover an opportunity to be part of the solution. And with Sydney, when she met Jack and understood the challenges he was going through in his life, she took it personally.
The first iteration that we ever made that we showed Jack was a literal cardboard box, and he loved it. He was so excited. I had no intention of starting a company. I had no intention of taking it any further than creating a product for Jack.
So there are 1 million people in the United States with Parkinson's disease, about 10 million people worldwide. It's a neurodegenerative disease, more typically diagnosed in 65 plus.
So Jack took me to a Parkinson's support group here in San Luis Obispo. It all goes great. Jack's talking about his next stride and how much it's helped him. And at the end of the support group, I have one by one, 15, 20 people all come up to me and say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. Thank you so much for presenting. I also have freezing of gait and don't have any effective solution for it. When do I get my prototype?" And I remember sitting there being like, oh crap. Like, how am I gonna make 20 more of these? And that was when I realized there was a much bigger need for a device like this.
So the Cal Poly Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, or the CIE, has a lot of programming designed to help students that want an entrepreneurial experience to figure out the path to get it. And in some cases, it's just an experience that they take with them into their career working for somebody else. In some cases, like in Sydney's case, they become this reluctant entrepreneur where they didn't realize that's their path and they needed to pursue it because there was something that kept driving them and they weren't going to stop until they were able to figure out if they can answer that call.
The Next Stride lets people walk, people who wouldn't otherwise be able to move around their house. It provides a visual and an auditory cue to help kind of bypass the damaged neural pathway in someone's brain.
The visual cue is a green laser line that's projected onto the floor in front of you. You visualize yourself stepping over that line, and that change of intention changes the way that your brain thinks about that movement and allows you to overcome freezing a gait. The auditory cue that we have is a metronome. So again, try and step to the beat of that metronome, and that change of intention changes the neural pathways in the brain, allows you to overcome freezing of gait.
You know, once you see NextStride in action, like see it solve this problem for someone, you can't say, no, nobody needs that, right? It's more like, how do we get this into everybody's hands who can use this product?
The Dior devices in the Sydney Collins story is what we hope comes out of the Cal Poly CIE. Not only will they make a difference, but then Sydney's already proven herself to be a great steward for the younger entrepreneurs that are coming behind her. That flywheel of success out of the Cal Poly CIE continues to happen, and that's going to bode well for all of our future.
I think Cal Poly's learn by doing motto really is the reason that this whole company is here.
Without the resources that I gained at Cal Poly, I wouldn't be where I am today, working with Sydney, getting NextStride out into the world. Like, Cal Poly made that possible. This started with NextStride and solving freezing of gait for people with Parkinson's disease. But if we have our way, I think we'll be able to help a lot more people than that.
So Jack passed a couple weeks ago. His vision for the company, his vision for the product was to just have a good impact on the world. That was always what he lived by. He wanted to make sure that the people outside of his community also had access to this tool that helped him so much. If we could do that, I think that he'd be very proud of what we're able to accomplish.
I've seen a lot of devastation in my life. I've seen over 10,000 buildings burned during my career. One that was really kind of a watershed moment for me was the Oakland Hills fire. 3,000 buildings burned down in about a 6-hour time period, and 25 people died. That created an impetus for me to say, we've got to do something different. This isn't working. We've got to find a new pathway forward. Wildland-urban interface fires in California are the most frequent federally declared disaster in California. And these are fires that occur where the built environment and the forest meet. And it's where the consequences are the greatest, where more property is damaged, more people are injured or displaced, their homes are lost, businesses disrupted, entire communities destroyed. So the Cal Poly Wildland Urban Interface Fire Institute is a unique institute at Cal Poly. There's no duplicate anywhere in the country, and it's made up of a collection of scientists from different disciplines, from city planners to foresters to aerospace to chemists to economists, looking at the wildland-urban interface problem from a holistic perspective to come up with solutions through a collaborative process. You know, Cal Poly's strength is applied research, solving a problem now, you know, through application of known technology, and then doing some research on trying to find new ways, new pathways forward.
Swanton Pacific Ranch is a 3,200-acre property that was donated by Al Smith. He is a Cal Poly alum, and so his legacy was to leave that to Cal Poly for our education, for young people to learn and get hands-on experience. There are agricultural activities, there are rangeland activities, and there's a very large forest component.
So Swanton Pacific Ranch unfortunately burned this last summer in the CZU complex fire, both the forested lands as well as the grazing lands, but unfortunately almost all the buildings were destroyed.
You know, everything was lost. You know, I'm standing here with a nice piece of streamflow equipment. This is owned by the university. We had equipment like that at Swanton Pacific Ranch, and all of it's gone. Everything is gone. And so we have to start from scratch.
The good story is that it gives a clean slate to start completely over in the redesign of the ranch as a world-class, you know, educational research facility in an amazing setting, from redwood forest to the ocean.
As things open up, the opportunity is going to be there to do a lot of study associated with the fire. Wildfires have not only not only do they sort of burn vegetation and so forth, but that they have risk associated with them of creating, say, adverse erosion impacts or increasing flooding. The Department of Forestry is really interested in getting some data sets following this fire. Specifically, my research is looking at how much the hydrology has changed following the fire. And then we also have a graduate student that's going to be looking at the ecology of the stream and seeing how that changed following the fire.
So to succeed, the WILY Institute really needs successful partnerships with industry, agencies, organizations, other universities.
There are many challenges going forward, obviously, with human beings on this planet. I think that we have the right students here, the smart students here, that are exploring these various aspects, and I believe will really help solve some of these future problems that we face as a society.
My dream is the WILY Institute will result in change, reducing the unwanted consequences of these fires through better community design, better community preparedness. That's the ultimate goal. And this institute can help achieve that.
So I was teaching a molecular genetics upper division class in the winter quarter of 2020. So I got to be with the students as we were starting to see these reports come out, starting to read about this virus emerging and how is it going to affect our lives.
Early on, Dr. Davidson and I were approached to see if there was any possibility for Cal Poly to help with testing. We didn't know, what the coronavirus was all about. We had some sequences. We knew you could detect it by PCR.
In an unprecedented move, the genome of this virus was just made publicly available really early on.
So as the university is shutting down, I'm coming in at night to run machines here and see if we can pull it off.
So the university initially contracted with a company called Avellino, which did nasal swabs. We thought we could do it faster, we thought we could do it a bit cheaper, and we really thought we could get students involved in this opportunity. We got support to first optimize to see if we could get the protocol to run. We quickly did that within a couple of weeks.
There was a molecular challenge to it, but it was much more of a scaling challenge.
When faced with 3,000-4,000 a day, we knew we couldn't just manually pipette everything. And so that's when we brought in Dr. Javan Oza from biochemistry, who had this expertise already existing on campus of these robots. We can think about this pooling strategy.
Early on, we chose to pool 5 to 1. That is, we'll mix 5 people's samples together into one pool, and then we'll run that test.
Most of the people that we're testing will be negative. They're all asymptomatic. So if we can test 5 people's samples at once, then we can save resources and we can save time.
When you do have a positive pool, then we separately test each one of those individuals.
At the time we were building this, the average test was running on the market around $100 to $150 a test. Our test costs us under $1.
So our test is pretty straightforward. You come to one of our 2 testing facilities and they have previously registered and have on their phone or just a piece of paper a 6-digit ID. The most awkward part of it is that you have to deposit saliva, so there's all these little private stations you can go to. You hand in your sample, they check to make sure that it matches your ID and that you're the right person, and then you're on your way. The lab comes and picks them up, and once they're in the lab, they go through this process of being checked and decapped and run on the robots and pooled, run on the qPCR machine. Most of the time we result back within a day.
So many different groups of people had to put in long nights to be able to get to that point where we could hand a tube to a student and get that result back to them.
We immediately recognized that it was going to take lots of hands, lots of helping, lots of moving these samples around, lots of innovation, and the students at Cal Poly are terrific for all of those things.
This lab is beyond learn by doing. Our students come in, they train, and they're off to the races.
Working in the lab on campus has been an amazing experience. The coolest part is just being able to do something that's directly making a difference.
They've learned how to do these assays in the molecular biology labs. They've thought about these principles in genetics and molecular biology classes.
It's definitely made me want to pursue a career more concentrated in infectious disease.
Our students are more than capable, right, and more than prepared coming out of Cal Poly to be able to face the real world demands that will be asked of them.
The wastewater lab and the saliva lab work in synergy, and it's really important that they do. Because what we're trying to do is serve as sort of a distant early warning and a surveillance method for looking at groups of individuals. There's a lot of nasty stuff in wastewater. We came up with a process for how to separate clean virus RNA from the matrix, the filthy wastewater matrix. Now the saliva team will take 5 individuals and pool their saliva, and then they only have to deconvolute those 5. Whereas we're taking an entire dorm of between 500 and 1,500 individuals and looking at their collective waste. We could then tell the saliva team, here's 1,000 individuals that have potentially 1 or more positives in there, and they can deconvolute that with their more efficient system using robotics and so forth.
The benefit of wastewater testing is there's a very short window. Whether you're asymptomatic or symptomatic, if you're infected and you have virus in you, then you're going to be shedding virus. And so that foreshadowing window is only 2 or 3 days, but because of it, if we catch it in time, it allows us to figure out where there might be a hot spot.
This whole process of testing asymptomatic students has been a truly community effort and a Cal Poly community effort.
It involves a whole bunch of staff from EOC, from Campus Health and Wellbeing, from our college.
Everyone came together, collaborated, called in more resources when we needed, and it was a moment in time which I hope isn't too frequent in our lives, that it felt like almost being called into war. Like this was a battle that I was uniquely qualified to help fight.
The health center gave us little jackets that said Campus Health and Wellbeing COVID Response Team, and that's a historic piece of clothing.
It definitely was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be part of this team.
One of the holy grails in the research world is for your research to matter, for the things that you're doing to matter and to have direct real-world implications.
This lab is a testament to Cal Poly as a whole. It's a testament to our leadership. President Armstrong has been instrumental, fundamental, you name it. Without his leadership and his belief in us, we would not have what we have today.
I'm excited about people looking around, kind of seeing us as a little example. We just built it from what we had. How can we continue to build those collaborations, build resources? Because I think the opportunities are limitless.
Making a difference, whether it's this pandemic or the next pandemic, however many pandemics there is, I know I'm going to want to be a part, at least a small part of each one, to try and help in my own way.
Wow, wasn't that amazing? I hope each of you are just as inspired as I am after hearing from our passionate and solution-oriented students, faculty, and alumni. Their creativity, tenacity, and commitment to excellence are indicative of each and every member of the Cal Poly community. And I couldn't be prouder to represent them and this amazing university. Learn by doing is embedded in everything we do at Cal Poly. But it's also a foundation that our community has continued to build upon. We learn by collaborating, by seeking out new information, and by expanding our horizons to ensure that we are contributing to society in a meaningful way. You've seen 3 stories that exemplify what is already possible here at Cal Poly. To our donors, volunteers, friends, and community members watching now, we are grateful for your dedicated support. Your earnest belief in what we can achieve together motivates our community to dream big and make an impact. Thank you for investing in our faculty, students, and the solutions that shape the future. Thank you, and go Mustangs!